is probably coil and a coil. These wires. Oh, let's get this out of here. Yes, there's some wires. Hopefully some instructions. Power box. Ooh, that's gonna make a mess. Got her. Okay. They look really similar. Well, it's supposed to be a 10-degree difference, so probably not going to be able to see it that well without a protractor. From high up, don't pay any attention to that. Yeah, looks like it's further this way by a little bit, so yeah, looks good. Let's get those coils out. Here's the rest of the kit. So both the coils out. They look really nice. They got a nice shield to them. So they have a shield wire too, which is great. Then that single tab is to, so it can kill the ignition through ground. That's what this is for. It comes with this guy in case you have a bullet connector on the existing one, and new zip ties. And then this is kind of cool. This sticker covers a hole that's made when you remove this unit. So allegedly, we'll see how it looks. Yeah, we'll just go by the directions. It's really clear on what to do, but the basic order of it is going to be to remove the module and its wiring, right? Because we already got the flywheel and ignition boxes off. So that means we are going to get rid of this chewed up yellow wire. Everything's going to be nice. Yeah, we'll hop to it. We also need to cut, for the flywheel install, these tabs need to get cut off. So this whole thing is flat. Fortunately, this is plastic, so that'll be super easy. And then we're going to cut a piece of this ring gear off. So it fits right there along that seam. They said to keep 6 teeth. So we'll do that a couple times just to have spares. Then you can use those teeth, according to the Kohler manual, as a holder. You just put the piece in between these here and then torque your guy down. You're good to go. We'll also give that... we already cleaned it up, and we'll vacuum some more of those crusties out of the stator. Yeah, wires clipped out. It used to sit in there like that and take up a ton of space. So it has its own ground, white, which is the kill switch, and then red for power, I'm sure, and then the 2 coil wires. So look up. This one still stays attached. I think this one just gets taped over. Yep, so double checking the instructions, it just clarifies that this one here, this bullet connector, goes to the solenoid switch for the fuel. It needs to remain intact, and then this will be cut off and given a new connector for the new coils. Old stuff out, new flywheel in place. There's the cutoff piece. They say to use as a holding tool. That side looks a little neater. Let's see how that works out. Ah, is it too? No, that's good. Boom, it sits there, and it's only 49 foot-pounds, so not like it's on there super hard. There's just a taper. I'll tighten down pretty easy. Easy, that works great. I'm going to do these the same way I did the other Kohler engine on my other mower. So now that they're not touching for sure, we turn it until, oops, it's not supposed to touch yet. Shit, okay, get it out of there. So you tighten that down so it doesn't slide. Then you loosen it and let a magnet pull it up against it, and then tighten it again. So give those a little more. Oopsie. There we go. That looks really close on that one side. We'll see, say 0.009 in the manual. Oh, that slid right in. That's what she said. All right. Now, we'll loosen these. They'll snap in. Yep. And these are 88 inch-pounds. I'll use my meter for fun. But yeah, that should do it. Let's see. All right. The camera's in the way. Well, anyway, we'll torque the other one, get this side done, and then check it. Yeah, so far super straightforward. Coils are in, they're spaced, spun it around, nothing touches. This guy, actually this red one, fits to him, but this thing's in the way. I thought that tab was for zip tying it down. I guess I was wrong. There's no... Yep, and all this does is if you send ground to the coils, it grounds the coils out, no more spark. So we have both a fuel cut and a spark cut when things stop. So we're just going to tie all these wires back into place, get all the covers on, see if it'll fire up. Okay, now there's no fuel in the carb because we don't know if that fuel pump's working right or not. So moment of truth, we're hooked up to the battery. We got the charger on 6 amps to kind of help out. Throttle's in the middle of who knows where. And you don't need choke on when you're using starting fluid because choke only regulates what's coming out of the bowl of the carb. See if we get a bang bang out of it. Oh, why don't you start? Oh, it brake's not on. It does care about this switch quite a bit. And I think, you know, once it's running, you can turn it back off as long as the seat switch is down, which it is because we have a jumper. Okie doke. Huh. Nothing. That's makes me sad. Okay, got the tester in place. No sparky. Why? Okay, for testing purposes, pulled the white wire out of the top of the connector. That's the kill for those coils. So if I turn this, should see spark. Okay, this side sparky sparks. Check the other side too. Okay, both sides are sparking. Would have thought there's still enough in there to fire, but you never know. It's odd. Something's not right. Alright, got a little bit of charge in while I did some work. So I pulled this plug out, pulled that plug out, verified spark with the plug to the frame, went ahead and sprayed some starting fluid straight in. Maybe there's some kind of blockage that's keeping anything from getting into the cylinders, so we should at least get this side to fire, I hope. I mean, there's nothing, right? There's just nothing. Not all hope is lost. Maybe that other can of starting fluid is junk. Maybe that's a possibility. Let's give it another plug in, see if it'll fart. Okie doke. Okay, I'm happy with that. Stage 2, we got to get it pumping its own fuel in, make sure this carb's going. So that might take some time. The camera's dying, so I'm gonna get some charge in that while I do more work. So hearing it fire on starting fluid, super happy about that. It was clearly banging away the way it should, but it's not getting any fuel on its own. So these little pumps, right, they have an in and an out, and then this is the pulse. So I took a hose, put it on there, and just with your mouth, you can suck in and out, and it should do and pump fuel. It wasn't moving it at all. So maybe the diaphragm's torn, maybe something's stuck in there. Who knows? We'll get it apart and find out. Fortunately, these things are cheap. They're like $12, and I would probably guess that the mower shop down the road from me has them in stock for who knows what brand. Now, those guys though, they're a little too loyal down there. Like I walked in and said I needed some parts for my Cub Cadet, and his only answer was, "We don't sell Cub Cadet parts here." And I was like, "Well, they're tires, so you might have them anyway." Fucking jackass. Like, why wouldn't you try to help people out? But they did send me a koozie for free. All right, so here's the side that sucks and bangs. You can see it's just a plastic film. like you should just do that and pump fuel, but there's also check valves in there. So if those check valves are all stuck, this doesn't seem to have any holes in it. So it should be fine. Let's pop you apart. Do you come apart? Looks like it's supposed to come apart, especially since that one comes out the other side. I don't want to jam a screwdriver in there and ruin the gasket. Oh, yeah, there it pops. Okay, so this has got gasket, 2 chambers, right? Yeah, and there's the arrow in. So fuel, when that diaphragm pumps, it gets sucked in. look at that. That hole's all blocked up. So, yeah, something must have made a little home in there when it was sitting out in the yard with no line hooked up. Clear that out, we might be pumping fuel. Trying to start on its own fuel. Yeah, that's enough. Maybe more choke. I worry a little bit about those linkages on the carb because they looked kind of haggard. That's all the choke. Let's give it half the choke. So I'm not sure how accurate they are. I'll give it some more juice. There. Ooh, it pulled a bunch of fuel through that time. It was a backfire. That's yeah, I might just have carb issues. You know what though, I did just have a thought that if we had to unplug the white wire to get spark, something's telling it not to run. And if something's telling it not to run, that fuel solenoid's probably shut. Now when I do the key, I hear it. Like it opens up, but that doesn't mean it doesn't close as soon as we try to start it. I'd have to hook up a meter. Yeah, let me get my meter out. We can unplug that and see if the voltage drops as soon as we start cranking. I did a little bit of reading on this carb, and it's probably just going to need a lot more attention than I gave it, right, just with a few passages. So we're going to go ahead and risk taking some of these things off. Gaskets be damned, and if we need to order gaskets, we order gaskets. But like key takeaways, like there's passages up in here that do idle. There's things to do with this acceleration pump that run through it even when it's not enriching for Excel. So we really do need to get it all the way apart and make sure there's no nasties in it. The only reason it's wet is for me tipping it around and having fuel spill out. So it looks like nothing was getting through, but there definitely was fuel in this line. So we'll see if there's any proof of fuel in the bowl. Yep, so there's fuel in the bowl. It's just not getting through the passages. And when we get this top off, we should be able to pull the center tube out and all that stuff. So here's a fun one. Found this out on the old interwebs too. This hose, there's a bulge in the middle that's really stiff. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's actually a jet inside the hose. Here's that upper chamber. You know, without explaining too much, that's essentially our idle jet. And there's a bunch of little holes that allow fuel through here. And then when you open the throttle, more holes are exposed. It's a kind of a little weird system. It's the first time I've ever seen something like this. So I'll get that jet out, clean up more of this paper, and just do a really good job cleaning it up. And you know, we tore this in half, and I don't want to RTV it. There's too many small things to risk getting it in. So we'll have to order some gaskets up for this carb. Here's the bag of parts. This is not from Kohler. So the Kohler rebuild kit is like $50, $55, and it doesn't come with this guy, right? It doesn't come with a lot of this stuff. And mostly what I care about is having a nice new diaphragm, because this old one was like difficult to move, right? It's really crusty and like, right? So that, I just don't trust it anymore. So between that diaphragm and the little flappy valve, so those will be nice new rubber parts. And it looks like it actually comes with a jet to go inside the hose. Now, I don't see the top one. So the other reason I had ordered it is because it came with a new gasket for this guy. It's in the picture, but it doesn't show up in the thing. So, you know, that's what you get for being a cheap ass, I guess. I think I got it figured out. I had this old phone upstairs that I don't use anymore. It's got a case, and that case has a nice thin rubber section. So we'll take this side and face it up, and then this will face down and hopefully seal, although there is a little line there. So it's this part, right? So it only needs to cover the passages, yeah. So down here, something like that. You know, so we'll cut that out and we'll put this side towards the passages, and I think that'll at least see if this works. And if it does, maybe we'll order the paper one and replace it, but we'll see. You know what else we should do? We should cut a piece of this off and put it in some gasoline. I wonder what it's made out of. Alright, so here's those passages. There's the whole gasket, right? Beat up, worthless. It's thin paper stuff. Probably could have made one out of cardboard, but we're going phone case rubber. It's kind of a tight fit. I didn't cut it quite big enough, but I cut out holes in such a way that it should be centered enough that it covers up all the holes that it needs to. And then this top piece will crush it nice and flat into place so that it seals all this stuff up. Yeah, see, that fuel's not really moving. It's going to need more pulse, more bitter. Oh, we don't want to choke it if we're doing that. Fuel's not moving. I plugged the solenoid in. I tested it for voltage yesterday, and it does maintain 12 volts. We got our ground hooked up. So, wait. I've just become aware of some dumbassery. There's a shutoff valve that I shut off in my haste to not leak everywhere. Look at that. It's low enough it pushed a bunch in. So now we do want the choke back on. It's in. It's so cold out. Let's help it along anyway. Should have done that outside. Okay, it runs. I'm happy with that.